So tell me a little bit about your own personal brand of intensity. What does intensity look like for you?
Well, for me, if you ask my mother when I was very young, one of the quotes that has kind of been my brand or my slogan since I was a child was, just let me do what I want to do. I said it when I was 4 and I kept repeating it throughout the years. And that's kind of always been my MO. I feel like I'm a jump in with both feet kind of person. I get an idea and I want to run with it. And I mean, I contemplate and I consider and everything else, but at the same time, I'm one of those people who's willing to kind of go out there and just do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think that that is one of the things that really impacts me on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that affected you growing up?
Well, so I mentioned that I'm twice exceptional. So back when I was in elementary school, I was diagnosed with ADHD. The only reason I was diagnosed with ADHD and the only reason I was even assessed for it was because my mom was a special educator. Mm-hmm. And so she saw some of those signs, but this was back at a time that ADHD was still relatively unknown and was rarely diagnosed in girls. But I was in the gifted program. My mom had to advocate for me even to be tested for the gifted ed program because I was so all over the place. and so with that though, when I was a kid, it was like I was impulsive. I was either really, really into it or not at all. I can remember several occasions when this happened when I was growing up, but there's one that really stands out in my mind. Well, actually, I'll tell two. The first one was, I know in high school, and I was in my U.S. history class, and we were doing a debate on, I don't even remember what topic it was, but something in U.S. history, and we had two sides. And so this was really fun and kind of cool to me, and I love to learn. And so I was taking it seriously enough, and I was having fun with it, though, but I was making my points and debating. And of course, this is a gen ed classroom, and everyone else is looking at me going, why do I care? And someone said to me, I don't even remember what they said to me, but they made some sort of comment that it was too much. I was too into it for what it was. And I remember just feeling shut down by that. Another time, this was when I was in middle school, and this was actually in my gifted ed program. And we were working on a project and I was excited about it. I think we were building a city or a town, like a 3D model of it. And we had to create the culture, and it was like a whole big project, and we were working on it as a class. And I was really excited about it. And so I'm chatty. I process a lot of times externally. And my teacher in the middle of the class, in front of everybody, asked me if I'd remembered to take my medication that day. Mm-hmm. And I was intense. I was excited about what we were doing. And it felt often like it was just too much. It was out of proportion with what other kids would do. And so those were some hard things, I think, when I was young that I really had to learn about who I am and who I want to be and who I'm going to be, whether other people like it or not. So that was interesting to reflect back on as an adult, as I've really come to terms with what that big picture is. When I was in elementary school, I was very stubborn. And so it was like what I thought I should do, I wanted to. And so my 5th grade teacher wanted to not allow me to go to the gifted ed pullout program any longer because I wasn't completing my work in the classroom. Well, part of the work I wasn't completing in the classroom was writing my spelling words 5 times each week because I won the spelling bee in 3rd grade and in 5th grade and in 6th grade. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not interested. So she gave me zeros and I continued to not do it. But then I think if my mom hadn't been there fighting for me, they would have pulled me from the gifted ed program because my grades weren't great. And if I didn't have that, I don't know how I would have gotten through school.
And it's so ridiculous when you think about it, because that is so textbook gifted, right? You don't want to do the busy work. They kept me in a 2nd grade reading book until 5th grade because I wouldn't do the busy work. And I was a Spanish immersion program. So it actually delayed my identification. But it's so ridiculous when you look at people refusing gifted programming because they won't do busy work. It's like, that's right. Part of being gifted. Right.
And to play devil's advocate, I understand from a school perspective, needing to have some evidence that a child can master a concept. But I think people get caught up in, well, if they can't do this work, then they can't go on to that work. There are other ways to assess that we need to consider. It's silly to be stuck in this programmed lockstep curriculum that doesn't fit all of our kids.